We certainly do appreciate them. I know that we have, and I know I'm biased. I accept my biases, okay? I accept them. I know we have the best music on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And any spiritual center here on a Sunday morning. So today I'm talking about, so you took a misstep, now what? Anybody out there ever taken a misstep or made a mistake? Never? Anything you regret? Never? Okay, good. Well, I knew I was among some other perfect people. And it's so good to know that. Yeah. So there were two hunters, and they had an airplane, a light airplane that flew them up into the wilderness. They were going to hunt for 2 weeks. And so after 2 weeks, the pilot came back to get them, and they had 2 buffalo. And he said, wow, I'm not going to be able to carry that weight on this airplane, not even possible. And so they protested and said, well, now listen, last year the pilot took 2 about this size on board. And so the pilot thought about it for a while, and he thought, well, my goodness, if they had success last year, I guess I can try it. And so he got his 2 passengers, they loaded the 2 buffalo on and took off and got up. Couldn't get high enough into the air, of course, because of all the weight on there. The 2 passengers weren't small themselves. They weren't small guys. Then you had these 2 buffalo. It was darn near impossible. And so, of course, they crashed in the side of the hill, and passengers get out, and one looks at the other, and he says, well, what do you think? Where do you think we are? The other one says, well, he's looking around. He says, I think we got about 2 miles further south than we did last year. Live and learn, right? Does that sound familiar to you? And then this week, I mean, it was just full of all kinds of missteps and mistakes. So I am thinking, boy, did I choose the right subject. I chose the right subject this week. And I won't even mention a lot of them. But then I saw Mary Mannon Morrissey. She's a spiritual teacher that I've read her books for a long time. She's a New Thought teacher. And she said, you can live 90 years, or you can live 1 year 90 times. It's up to you. How about that? It kind of reminded me of the person that says you can just keep on making mistakes all the time if you want to. You can keep leaving relationships because it's always the other person's fault. You can always leave jobs because this is a stinky place and I'm going to a better one. And a lot of times it may be true. But as one person said, you may get on an airplane, fly across country, and you get off the plane and you meet someone, some job, something, just different clothes, and look a little different than what you left. Until you change yourself and learn from your mistakes, you're not going to get ahead. You're going to keep crashing into the side of the hill thinking you're going to get those 2 buffalo home no matter how much they weigh. I was talking with the girls earlier this week, and we were talking about mistakes that are obvious and out there. And you know how it is when I've done it myself. I like to walk in the morning, and I know a couple of years ago, I was walking along, they had done some construction and stepped in a hole and didn't know it. And the next thing you know, I stumbled for about 5 steps before I very ungently and very ungracefully tumbled down to the dirt. And wouldn't you know, I'm at a traffic light and there are about 20 cars sitting there and everybody looking at me. And you're thinking, well, that was embarrassing. Anybody ever done anything embarrassing like that? Yeah, a few. Turns out those don't matter. One, though, that I told the girls about was every time I've done something like that, I'll think about one that in my younger life, and maybe when I was about 35 years old, and we still lived in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and working at a local company there, and I knew a woman at a competitor that I'd gone to elementary school with and just loved her, such a sweet lady, and I hope she's still around. And but I heard a story that she had gone to a champagne cocktail dinner at a local it was a Hyatt, so it was a nicer hotel. They're standing around with their champagne flutes and just having a great time. Actually, she probably had a little too much and was feeling a little tipsy, probably. It's why I don't drink. People wonder why I don't drink. I don't like who I am when I drink. I don't like getting goofy and silly. And I don't drink. I just don't. It's not because I've got anything against it. I don't, because I don't ever want to say something that I wouldn't say if I had all my senses about me, okay? Anyway, I think of this every time I do something that's embarrassing. I think of her because dressed in heels, beautiful suit, she turned too quickly and fell right into the pool, completely dressed. So every time you have a thought of you've made a blooper, think of that one. Can you imagine you're at a high power event and you've got all these professionals around and you're trying to make an impression, and maybe you're even looking for a better job. Who knows? You're just, and you fall into the pool soaking wet, get yourself up, dry yourself off to get in the car and drive yourself home. How long do you think that would take to get over that one? So anytime you make any small bloopers and fall in front of 50 people and think you've embarrassed yourself, forget it. It's nothing like falling fully dressed into a pool. But one of the things that happens to us is that as we go through life and we've made mistakes or missteps, is that we find it so hard to forgive ourselves, don't we? We find it so hard. It's one of the most difficult things to do. I was reading in Unity magazine, and it's on the unity.org website, Questions and Answers with Dr. Tom, and it's Reverend Dr. Tom Shepard, and people send in questions, and he answers them. And the man or woman, I don't know which it was, said, "I've tried everything my entire adult life to get over the guilt and the shame that I feel over how I treated people when I was young. I've tried everything. I wish that Unity had a practice like some of the other churches where you go in and the priest will bless you and all your sins have gone away. But of course we know that doesn't work. They only go away with a lot of hard work, don't they? We're the only ones that by allowing the divine in. Oh, how many of us, especially as parents, wouldn't do things differently? Haven't wished we knew then what we know now. about rearing our children. But Dr. Tom told him pretty much what I'm summing up now, and that is that you must somehow learn to forgive yourself and know that God would want that. You must see the divine in yourself and know that you are, just like Pamela said, I loved that, what you said about the unique fingerprints. That was great. And pointing at the young person, that was good too. Yeah, they need it. We love that they come here. See, they're learning things we didn't learn. And even if they just get a paragraph or a sentence, it's going to empower them in their lives. But he went on to tell him that each of us is a unique and divine spark right here on this earth. We're unique. We have gifts and abilities and talents that are totally different than our neighbor. And we're to use those. And if we're sitting around feeling small, if we're sitting around filled with regret, maybe even bitterness, upset with ourselves, unforgiveness, then we're dishonoring God. We're dishonoring the divine within, and we're not living up to the commitment we made when we took on these human bodies. How about that? We made a commitment. We said, yeah, I'll go to earth. I'll put on that human skin. That sounds like a good personality for me to take on. So we can't stay small. We're dishonoring the commitment we made when we came to this earth. And that's to be magnificent. The best we can be, empowered. And these are words from a daily word. I forgive and I am forgiven. The greatest gift I can give myself is forgiveness, because I understand as long as I'm holding on to unforgiving thoughts, I'm in a prison. That's what Emily Cady tells us in Lessons in Truth. Those thoughts, those negative thoughts, those disempowering thoughts are keeping us in prison. And it's of our own making. I'm open to the healing power of forgiveness and willing to forgive myself for my past mistakes, releasing guilt, shame, and regret through the power of the divine within me. And so it is. One of the techniques, and we've talked about it here several times, and I know that Joan and Jan grew up in Hawaii, and they were very familiar with this ancient Hawaiian practice, emotional cleansing, and this mantra and the practice of Ho'oponopono. And what you do, let's talk about that list I told you about a little bit ago, okay? That we can call it anything you want, a worry list. We can call it a prayer list or a concern list or just a love list. Call it anything you want to. And on it, if you would, write the name. And I recommend doing this daily. If you have even 5 minutes, you need to be quiet in a quiet space without distractions, without anyone else around, in the quiet. Make your list of the people. Maybe you've hurt someone you didn't intend to. Put their name on the list and go through this. I'm sorry, holding them in your thoughts and in your heart. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I do this every day. I have a list of those in need of healing, not just for forgiveness, in need of healing. You can do this for anyone that needs a miracle in their lives, needs more happiness in their lives, prosperity, whatever. It works because it's the passion and the emotion. It's the passion that's going behind it, that's underneath it. There's a passion that's going out from you as you're thinking and feeling this prayer for the other. And you can do it for yourself. Hold that younger person in your arms. Wrap your arms around yourself and know that you didn't intentionally want to hurt someone. You just didn't. Or maybe if you did, maybe you were at a place where you did want to hurt someone. That too. Usually that's not the case. And do it for yourself. I'm sorry. And what you're doing is you're speaking to your higher self, the voice within you, the one who knows, the one who is directly connected to God. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Someone might say if they've had a habit of something that's not good for their body, they've done it all their lives, and they finally realized that that wasn't a good habit to have. It used to be smoking. Oh, you can't believe how cool it was when I was a kid watching all these older people smoke, and they were even advertising it. If you were lucky enough to have a television, they were advertising it, and it was healthy for you. It was good for you. You saw all these people smoking and having a great time. Let's use that as an example, okay? And now we know how unhealthy it is. Maybe you've had some health issues from some of your earlier mistreatment of your body. Try this on. I'm sorry. Speak to that part of the body that's affected. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry for the anxiety I've held in my heart. I'm sorry for the anxiety I've held in my gut. I'm sorry for you may even say, if you're one, I forgive easily, so I've never been one to hold on to a hatred or anything, okay? That's not me. But you may be one that has and have a lot of unforgiveness. Maybe you've harbored it right here. It will damage your heart. It will damage your body. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. It just will. Use it for that. Use it to heal. I'm sorry for all the ways I've mistreated my body. I pray that my body, my entire being, will forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And learn from your mistakes and move on. How does that sound? And if there's anyone that I had a friend a couple of years ago that I used to know, another one from my younger years, and she's been retired and her husband passed away long time ago. She had asked if she could come down and spend some time with me. And it was a particularly busy summer. I had conferences. I had so many things going on. It was just unbelievable. But when you say that to someone that doesn't have anything to fill their day, they don't know, see, they're not seeing it from your perspective. They don't know that you have a certain amount of energy, and we each do. And you can call it energy or time, either one. I start basing it on energy. And so I lovingly, as lovingly as I could, explain to her that I just don't have the time. And I didn't. It was the honest truth. I'd made a commitment to myself to say no with more authority. I was going to own up instead of just pretending and letting something go by. You see, I'd made a commitment to do that, but it turned out inadvertently I hurt her. She didn't understand. She unfriended me, wouldn't return a call or a text. And I felt like I had nothing else to do when I remembered, well, my goodness, you haven't prayed about it, have you? Not really. Not really. Not deeply. And so I recognized that. When I recognized it, I put her right at the top of my list. And I started praying about it. And I started without doing anything other than, and I say, no, the first thing to do is, and the most important thing is prayer. But do you know, she later came around and wanted to know why we weren't friends on Facebook anymore. She didn't even remember. I thought, well, isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting? And I still don't quite understand it, but I do know that prayer works. And I know, too, that when you ask for forgiveness in this way, you can release the bonds of two people, at least two, you and the other. You can set yourself and the other free. And it's the way the divine set it up. It's part of the divine code. It's part of how we're meant to live on this earth. And then no matter what's occurred, no matter, it can all be sorted out. Anything and everything. You may think there's something so terrible that's happened in your life. God can't sort through this. But you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. The divine can handle this. Align your heart, your mind, your thoughts with God. Spend time in prayer, meditation. That's the most important time you'll spend. Forgive yourself and others. This is important too. Find the lesson and learn from it. If you're blaming somebody else, maybe go home and look in the mirror, okay? It may turn out it is them, but you still need to look in the mirror to say, do I need to walk away from this? You have to own your part in it too. Forgive yourself and others. Find the lesson. Make amends if possible. That's what they teach you in AA, isn't it? One of the first, second, third, fourth, whatever steps. I don't know what they are. I've heard what they are. Make amends if possible. It's not always possible. And make amends if you can keep from offending someone else or placing yourself in their lives. Don't just go, as one friend told me, so her ex had gotten in touch with her because he was going through that list, and she said, I wish he hadn't. I sure would have loved never hearing from him again. Truly. So before you go making amends, make amends in your own heart. Try this practice that we talked about this morning, and then say, do they even want to hear from me? They may not. They may not. Give it to God and move on. Could we say a prayer before I finish? Hear our words. God, universe. More importantly, read our hearts, feel our hearts, know what our hearts want in this situation. If there's forgiveness that we need to give, we're willing to do it. If we need forgiveness of our own selves, or we want someone else to forgive us, lead us, please, to the right and proper steps. to make this take place in the most benevolent manner for all concerned. We say thank you for this time together.